G'day guys, this is Big T. Today I've got the one of the classics in the workshop, the 80 Series Landcruiser, and we're going to be fitting the Rockarmor wool carrier. So I'm just going to go through step by step to show you guys how to fit the wool carrier on the vehicle today. Just to start off with, I'm just going to strip the factory bumper bar off the vehicle down to the chassis, just exposing all my points, and then I'm going to get my fitting kit ready and get started. So I've got my fitting kit laid out here. So the fine thread bolts, they're for the rear of the chassis, there's 4 on the rear. And then I've got 2 under the chassis, 2 on each side with the springs and the flats. So they're all ready to go. So the bar's pretty basic, just mounts up with those bolts there. Then what I have here, these big suckers here with the large washers, they're going to be for your gooseneck. These plates here, they're for our number plate holder. So this stud pattern here just is going to sit on our gooseneck, and the number plate will sit on the front as so. Then our light will sit on the front of that, just like that. And we've got all our some 10 mils to put our mud flaps back into place. We've got our bolts to hold the wheel in place, as well as the brackets, as so. Now these plates here, some of these 80 series don't come with a thread inside the chassis. Most of them do, but if it doesn't, you'll be using the plate, just insert it into the chassis. Then these coarse threads, you'll pick them up from underneath with also a flat spring nut. You've got your big caster nuts, so they're for your bearings right at the end, with the large washers, the small washers, and the split pins. So it's all laid out there, just makes it a lot easier when I'm fitting the bar up to the vehicle. And of course, right at the end, we've got our dust cap, which is going to sit on top of the arms. Okay, so I've stripped the bar all the way down to the chassis. So you see the whole chassis there is exposed. I've removed the 4 bolts from the front, and I've also removed the 2 nuts from underneath the front of the chassis there. Now I'm leaving the tow bar in place, and the rear bar is going to go over it. So I'm just putting in my 2 bolts under the bottom there. So I've got 2 fine threads on the left side, 2 fine threads on the right, and then I've got 2 fine threads which will go in the center of the bar, and then the 2 bolts in the center of the bar underneath will have a nut and a bolt that will go straight through. So on the top 2 there, you have a thread in the chassis, so that's the fine thread. So it's going to put a spring flat and straight through into the top one. And then on the bottom there, you're just going to go flat spring nut through the bottom and pick it up from the back with a flat and a nut. So I've got all my nuts and bolts in place there. So I've got nice gaps right around. I've got my 2 fine threads on the bottom of each side. I've got my 2 12 mils up on the side, and then I've got my 4 bolts in the center there. So tighten all those up, and then it's time for the wiring. So I highly recommend that this section you use a auto electrician, but I'll run through the color codes. So I've got the white, which is my negative, yellow, which is my indicator. Once again, white is my negative, red is my brake, brown is my parker, and then for the reverse light, black is the reverse, and white is my parker. Now if you're going to be running a dual jerry can holder, or also for your number plate, run up a twin for your number plate light. There you go guys, all done. Took me approximately 4 hours to get the bar all on and wired up. The beautiful thing I like about the Rockarmor wool carrier is just the ease of getting out of the vehicle. So really it's just a trigger system and opens up and then just closes like a car door. How easy is that? It beats all that locking and latching system that you find out there. So we've got the twin arms. The other great thing about the Rockarmor wool carriers is that the jerry can holders are universal with the stud patterns there, so you don't need to remove the whole arm just to put a jerry can holder on. Basically the jerry can holder just sits straight onto the stud pattern and away you go. If you want to remove it, put the wheel back on. It's as easy as that. So there you go guys. Really fits up really nice and snug with the vehicle. Looks really good. So get into any of your Aussie Off-Road mega stores and pick up a wool carrier now, and I'll see you guys on the tracks.